stranger from Pennsylvania, chilling in the W, where they live famous, throwing up the frames, showing that I'm living, already acting like I'm worth 20 million. Shaking off his haters like snow from my boots. Champagne bottles and all white suits. Show up out of town in an all white juice. Feeling like the shit cause it's all right too. The government scandal put the state on trial. DAs and judges are the criminals now. The whole judicial branch is a fucking cash cow, so they gon' have to take me out before I take them all down. This is Mad City. This is our town. If we in it for a penny, then we in it for a pound. Trolling online like you a bunch of gangsters. Meet us at the Coliseum, we'll entertain you. It's like with my feet up. Fuck some new sneakers. I rule my own empire. Julie is up in here with recent third dimension. The crew that I fuck with. Stop trying to hide, dude. Let's do this in public. Yeah, y'all know what it is, man. Shout out to everybody out there, man, in the whole wide world, man. It's Taibu Muad'Dib, man. This is your mess. This is Thinking Through Thursday. We're gonna get funky tonight. If you're over here on YouTube at Taibu Muad'Dib, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, I got a special surprise for you. We have Robby Culbreath, man, a man with his own platform, his own process. It's all good. I'm letting y'all know right now, we don't even need to go too far into this, man. I'm gonna get my brother in here and we're gonna get this thing done the right way. If you're not over here on YouTube yet, it's at Taibu Muad'Dib for the best podcast experience. Put my name in there. Let's go. All right.
Let's get it popping.
The brother is so fancy, he has two of him on the screen. What's going on, Robby?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm getting ready to take one of these out so I can feel the echo. Hang on.
Okay. My man, I gotta get on his level. That's what you do. People, you have to start to hang around folks that are above you and beyond you in your industry. How else are you supposed to grow? I appreciate y'all, man, for jumping in here tonight. I had to try something different.
Right.
People come on my show and I shame them and they never come back. But you were a mess. You know what I'm saying? The show's called You're a Mess. People, if you come on my show and I shame you, it's for fun. It's part of the show. Don't take it personal. Come back on the show. Hopefully you've cleaned your life up and your relationship up. And we were happy to have you. I'm telling you right now, this is what it is. All I know, Robby, is Thinking Through Thursday is when we get deep. Are you ready for that?
I love it, man. Let's make some things happen.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're new to the show.
Oh, dude, I'm new to the show. I am blessed to be here. First of all, thank you for the opportunity.
Man, are you single or you married or what? That's what ladies want to know. Ladies watching this show right now, like, ooh.
I'm married. I'm 29 deep come October 9th. So I'm taken. So, but listen, I dig the show. I dig what you're doing, man, and your platform. I got a platform, and I thank you for letting me share what that is. My podcast is called Savage Will 1111. And
drop that in the comment section because people watch it back. So drop that. Make sure you put that in the comment section. Yeah, Savage Will 1111.
Savage Will.
We're gonna get that down. We're gonna
1111. So we broadcast every Saturday at 11:11 Eastern Standard Time for 1 hour and 11 minutes. Now, in the cosmos, there's information that's contained that moves throughout our galaxies, our universes, the whole 9 yards.
All right.
On the frequency of 1111 or 33 degrees. So that's a primary 3 and 11. And so there's data, and we're finding data, we're finding information, and it's interrupting stuff that's going on in our world today. So we have a greater release of wisdom that's happening now in the world, than more so than ever before. So we just tapped in. That's all that is. But we really speak to the disenfranchised, those that are cast away, isolated, those people that are absolutely brilliant, but they're unitedly broken. This Savage Will is all about getting them unhinged and getting them untethered and getting them unpacking all that brilliance, all that genius that resides on the inside of them, so that they
Hey,
can
I
go.
don't care what y'all think. If the man come on my show and he sounds smarter than me, I don't. I'm still a confirmed genius. I am.
You are you are a genius. What are you
Don't come
talking
over
about,
me.
dude?
He don't be trying to come at me, y'all, because he on my show sound like he know a little something. Just go on his podcast and check him out. Right,
Dude,
Sad? I'm
dude,
telling you.
look. I know about 2 cents, brother. I came in here with $200 million, so I'm humble, my brother. We good.
They
But
looking
look,
at me
man,
like, look, he talking like Taibu. You a mess. You gotta get yourself together. You gotta get on his show. Forget having him on yours. I appreciate you, man.
you're gonna be on my show. I
Okay,
want you to know I want you on the show. That's a fact.
okay,
All
all right.
right.
So, eh, long story short, long story short, a lot of people are having an issue with true love.
Right
So
on.
you and your 29-year relationship spouse that have to come on Tuesday, man, and talk to the people, take some comments and some questions.
Yeah.
The African village is suffering when it comes to men staying with the kids, staying with the family, men
100%.
starting to plan ahead before they start a family. Like it's ridiculous out here right now. It's I ask a lot of my guests if it's too far gone to be fixed, and I'm not getting very what's what I'm looking for. I'm not getting very hopeful responses. You know, no one seems. Go ahead.
It's not too far gone to be fixed. It's right on. Hey, listen, we have to stop adapting protocols and ways of other people, right? And we've got to rely upon what we know to be real and right for us and for our community. We have a different kind of language. We have a
Right.
different kind of rhythm and bounce. And
Right.
so when we meet that and greet that together and stop trying to be like everybody else, and in fact,
Right.
stop trying to be like TV shows that are hyped up and get real and start talking about what works for us on our date nights or whatever nights we get together. Look, this works for me. This is what makes me love. This is what makes me feel great.
Okay, and to that point, I mean, because to that point, people are trying to make it seem like since everybody's different, there is no formula. What did you say about that?
Everybody is different. Can I just look at this? The cut that's in your DNA pool is slightly different than that of whatever you have for your sister, obviously. And if you have another brother, obviously. If you guys are not absolute identical twins, and even inside of that, that DNA model is not absolutely perfect, there's something different and unique about you.
All
So,
right.
whatever that uniqueness is, that's what we have got to examine, and that's what we have to pull apart together.
All right.
That's where
Okay.
relationships fail because we do the stuff on the principle level and we
All
don't
right.
dig down under the principle to get at the nitty gritty where we live.
So, at the end of the day, I want, and like I said, I shame folks on my show. I reserve that right because it's my show and that's what I do.
Do your thing.
Uh, my brother. So are you saying my cousin Fred was on the show last night? He's been
Okay.
married to his wife for 23 years. You got
Nice.
25. Are you meaning to tell me that we can't report to the African village that there is a formula that works? I mean that
That's
because
not
because
what I said was there is a principle, there's some principles, right?
okay.
Those principles bring us into an avenue, a street, a corridor where we can find love. However, if we stay purely on the principles and we don't dig down beneath the principles to find out what really makes us work and makes
Okay.
us mix, that's why we see the evidence. It ain't gonna work. We see too much evidence, it's not going to prove itself out. We have got to learn about that unique mixture about each other. And that gets to a place called truth. And my brother, when you get to truth, you're unveiling, you're peeling back, you're pulling off the layers of what you want people to think you are, and you're getting into what you really are. And it could be some messed up stuff. You're a mess, like you got on there. It could be a mess down in the middle of all that. And if somebody doesn't have the patience, we don't learn the patience. So that has to be part of our culture and our community. We have to learn the patience to learn how to communicate and dig into that crap and not judge it. Get the shovels and get it up out.
In 29 years, what was the most challenging beef you and your wife had to get over?
Dishonesty.
On whose side?
after the first one happened, and it
No, no,
reversed
no,
that.
no, 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 no. If you're just one half of the equation, we'll get her on at some
100%.
on Tuesday on some fortuitous Tuesday. We're gonna hear her side, but until that happens, and you just said honesty, you said that, and I asked the direct question. Thank you for the direct answer. On whose side? Were you dishonest with her, and she
No.
had? Okay, okay. Okay. So what we're dealing with right now is you believe, or you had concrete evidence she was dishonest, and that was the tough thing for you to get over.
So
29 years, bro. 29
hold on,
years. It
hold
was
on,
tough to get
hold
over.
on. So dishonesty manifests a lot of different ways, so we're not going to bounce out too far.
Okay.
So at any level of dishonesty, when that comes in and you establish your kingdom on truth, you got to deal with that. And if because of fear or because of shame, because some people can feel fear, some people can feel shame on the inside of themselves, and they can't deal with handling what's coming at them directly. As a consequence, dishonesty can keep on breeding itself. It can keep on replicating, right? Until you get to a place where there's at a breaking point, or you create the breaking point intentionally, just so things can in fact fall apart, so you can piece things back together again. This is what I'm talking about on the real. So on the real, you have to bring it to a cataclysmic halt, right? And then create that environment where you're like, hey, look. Whatever this is right here, what we have right here is going to supersede all of this. Now, it's going to take some repair time, but we going to get past this. But if we never create the crisis, if we only create a crisis in order to leave and don't create
Right.
a crisis to cleave, we'll never get to the truth of who we really are. Years later, we'll figure out we really love this dude, we really love this woman, and we just didn't go the next step to confront truth. And it cost us everything. Now we got to repeat this whole cycle with a bag of garbage that we're taking to another relationship that we're going to keep hidden for a long time until it explodes, because it's a part of our fabric that needs to be uprooted. See, once we start uprooting that stuff, then it gets free. Now we
Thinking
can
through
see the real
Thursday.
part.
Thinking through Thursday is our opportunity. It's our opportunity to blend in how social justice issues, go Pittsburgh, beat the Browns, and how social justice issues uh, affect the way we view each other, the way we date
Right.
each other. What kind of conversations do you and your spouse of 29 years have when you see an unarmed African man or woman shot and killed by law enforcement?
Prayer, disgust, um, the preparation of making my sons, I had three sons, making my three sons aware of the atrocities that are so terrible that they remove them from our history books. I have to relate to them how it is to be an African American male, if I might, just for 1 second. So I'm coming off on a different real tip. Well, I was
Okay.
a knucklehead coming up, okay?
And by
And so
knucklehead, you mean you
uh,
broke the law or you were close to it?
uh, I was fortunate enough not to do time or anything else like that, but I was doing
Okay.
things that were not right.
Okay.
And what my biggest vice was fighting beside chasing women and
Okay.
alcoholism. All right, those are
Okay.
my top three. At
Does it
the
run
end
in
of
the family
the day,
or just you just picked it up in the streets?
both. It was survival. I grew up in Washington, D.C. You got to do it or you're going to get dead.
DC,
Um,
my executive producer, China, shout out to China Gray, executive producer of the reality TV show version of this. Shout out to
nice.
China. The DC person here, China, so tap in. All right, go ahead.
Right on, right on. So Southeast kid, then going out to Maryland, and going out to Maryland, being the first black family in the neighborhood where they didn't even know my dad, who started balling a little bit, bought the house. They thought it belonged to a white person. And as a result, when he went to go get the keys, the owner of the builder of the house says, no, I'll buy this house for X. The value of it 20 years later, he was going to pay cash for it then. So we started feeling this pressure right here. So now, as a result, when you go to school and you got white people coming at you because you're black and everything they've learned about you, and you're coming at them because you're black and everything you've learned about white, that's volatile mix. So consequently, I was doing a lot of fighting. I was going to get kicked out of DC, Maryland, Virginia schools. I was going to have to go to school down south to go up school north because I wasn't going to take anything.
What
And so
decade
it
was
cost
this?
something. Huh?
What decade was this? The 70s, 80s, 90s?
80s, 70s, 80s.
Okay, so
So what
people
you
don't
see
understand.
today, what you're seeing today with what we see on TV because of the internet and everything else, we were living it without all the broadcasts. I've been shot at multiple times by police officers, having bullets cut over my ear, jumping over cars, running, hitting the deck and rolling, not only by police officers, but by all people that look like me. You understand? So feeling the weight and the pressure of that and don't have the scars other than the memory. So this is where I'm bringing this perspective from.
When you guys hear rap artists, whether it's true for them particularly or not, talk about the streets being a war zone, you're hearing my brother tell his story. His story is his voice. I don't think many of us uh, can appreciate what America is like for an African American male or woman. All of you others, you Latinos, you Asians, you Hindus and Jews, you Europeans, all of you, you just can't appreciate uh, what it's like to be African in a country where they brought you over here as property and set you free, but still, in their heart of hearts, view you as an animal.
Still do
Uh,
the draft on the same formula, right? Every draft is still done on the exact same formula, same platform, different look,
and
glitz
so
and glitter.
and so just hearing him talk about that is triggering for me to a certain extent. Uh, I could have easily been a gardener. I could have
Mm,
easily been choked out by the police.
mm,
Uh, in Indiana, I was put over. I could easily have been a Michael Brown.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Just getting shot by a police officer that had this gun trained at my head. And, it's just ridiculous. Or someone on a traffic stop. So, as recently as a couple years ago, well, not too many years ago, I was working for security for a party promoter, and we were riding through a rural area in Wisconsin, and they pulled us over because he didn't have a front license plate on his Benz
yeah.
wagon, on his Mercedes Benz wagon. He didn't have a front license plate area or license plate on it. They pulled us over, and cops were standing flanking the car with their hands on their guns. What were you expecting to happen that you needed to act like you're getting ready to shoot into this vehicle? I had to roll the window down and talk to the officer and tell him that I was on the phone with an officer in Madison, Wisconsin, and that he needed to verify that he can take his hand off his gun with me in the car.
Yep.
I wouldn't let them be hurt. That I would tell them if it was a gun or a serious danger. And our people have to get up on that. Let them know, hey,
100%.
officer, I'm with you. If somebody here has a weapon, I'm letting you know. I'm gonna hop out. We're on the
Yep.
same side. Don't let officers stand outside your vehicle with their hands on their guns. Talk to them, people.
Yeah.
All right.
And talk to them without being aggressive because they have been trained to expect us to react a certain way, to say things a certain way, so we do react that way, so that they're justified and have proper motivation to do what they're going to do, right? And it is systemic. You were talking about getting choked out. I don't know if you've ever been choked out by your science teacher because your skin is dark. I was. I don't know if you've ever been kicked by two of your gym teachers at the end of class underneath the bench, and they kicking you for about 2 or 3 minutes and tell you better not be late for class. So
See,
this is the world I came out of.
my dad didn't leave until I was like for good until I was 13. So
Got it.
I was lucky to have a mom and a dad at home. My mom and my dad sent us to school under the premise, don't make me look bad.
Right on.
So they weren't gonna believe any European or anybody about our behavior when they came to the school about our behavior. They wasn't
Right
gonna
on.
believe they knew we wasn't gonna come home and if we getting caught back in my day, getting caught telling the false tale to your parents wasn't just
That's
getting
a
your phone,
no-no.
wasn't just getting your phone taken. It was that the scariest thing in the world could have making your mom or dad look bad when they took you over to visit their friends with their kids.
Yeah.
So don't have your parents come up to school and you actually be in the dead wrong. Just wasn't possible. So I remember fondly my dad coming to the school because some attendant had put his hands on me. I lived across the street from the school. I was going to walk home. Don't say nothing. I'm walking my way from my mom to get home.
Right.
Dude tried to stop me and physically put his hands on me. I'll never forget my dad sitting there talking to them like, man, look, if you put your hands on my son, you have to put your hands on me too.
That's my
You have,
father.
you have to think about this. So before you do it, if my son is dead wrong, he know better. But if my son say leave and go home to school, then y'all let him go do what he's going to do. I'll take care of that myself. I don't need anybody. If anybody puts their hands, just understand that if he had to let it be. And the guy was just shrinking. The principal and the guy, they're both just shrinking.
Yeah.
They were disappearing. I had to get up and look like I was a little kid. I was like, where are they going? I'm saying that's how it was back in my day. You didn't get into it with teachers because you knew if your teacher said something to you that was inappropriate, sexually or otherwise, you were going to go home and tell your parents. They were going to up there a flash. Back in my day, the African mom and dad, but really mom, couldn't wait to come up there and read the teachers the riot act for saying something or doing something inappropriate for their children. Have y'all seen the Cat Williams episode with Stitching on the Tiger? They was in the cage talking about, I wish a would jump over that fence. You know what I'm saying? That's how the African mom was when I grew up. They were playing cards. We would sit around and hear him talking about, yeah, girl, I had to go to school today. What happened, girl? I had to go up to school. That teacher had never tell my child to comb their hair. She said, what? What you do, girl? I mean, I went up there. I told that teacher, look, let me tell you something right here. You don't know anything about an African person's hair. You don't know what you're talking about. All you did was insult my child. And if that happens again, I'm gonna come up here and talk about you so bad for all these kids and that you're gonna quit your job. And if you don't quit your job, I'm gonna come up every day and talk about your team. Girl, high five on the table. That's how it was in my day.
Dude, wasn't no different. Wasn't no different. Look, when I said my teacher choked me out, I hope you caught what I was saying. It was because of the color of my skin. At the end of the class, he closed the door, picked me up by the neck, and slammed me against the door. It wasn't because of anything I did. Watch this. I graduated from my junior high and my high school in the top 2% of my class academically. So it wasn't about that. And it wasn't about behavior, because if I cut up in my classroom, I went home, my pop would put the belt to my hind parts and my mom's. Here's why I didn't tell my father and my mother until I got older. Here's why. Because in the day I grew up, they would take my father out and kill him. You understand? So it was a little different in the time bucket. My father could lose his life. They could come up in our house and present trouble. We had words burned in our yard, stuff thrown against our house, the whole 9 yards. So it was that's where that came from. So here's what I did, though. Here's the thing. This is why this is beautiful, what you're talking about and where we're going. Oh, I think we're going. Here's what's beautiful. I felt that atrocity. And I said, why is it that we're the most hated species on the planet? We're hated worse than animals. We're hated worse than any species, anything on the planet, African-American males. Our families, our women, and our children are being taught to disregard the African-American male in his own house. And so I said, why is this? So in my brain, in my mind, I said, I got to figure this out. So I ended up going to white colleges for a couple of years and then came back to HBCU, graduating from Virginia State University. But I wanted to find out what it was and why it was. And then when I realized that this is stuff that's taught, that's inbred, that's systemic, that's in our money systems, it's in our government, it's everything. I took a different approach. And my only difference in approach, and it's not like it's something unique or something profound, it's just what I chose to do. When my European sisters and brothers come to me and say this or that and call me out my name and out of my character, I say, you know what? I appreciate where you are right now. Because if I saw the news that I see about me, people that look like me, and all the information that's given about people that look like me, I would feel like you feel. I would feel like right now you might be a little nervous because you don't know who I am All you know is I'm supposed to be animal-like and I'm going to go off a certain kind of way. I said, am I doing that? And they're like, no. And I said, so right now you think I have weapons on me? I might be doing this, that, and the other. Am I doing that? They said, no. We're having a conversation, and the person that's been aggressive has not been me, it's been you. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's how it flowed. Is that correct? Yes. Then can I ask you a question? Yes. Why is it if we're talking like two civilized people right here, and we're not thinking about color right now because we're having a conversation, so we can't think about two things? How is it that you can hate me right now and we're talking like friends? And that's been my life approach. And so in places where I've been called coon, nigga, all this kind of stuff like this, the same people, some of them became my friends. Watch this. I live down in Georgia. Me and this one dude who called me a coon, called me a nigga, said he wanted to go get his friends, and they wanted to take me and drag me in the back of their car because of who I was. I took over as a general manager of a fitness place, and this is what they wanted to do. And I said, and that's when I had that conversation. I'm like, why is it that we're doing this? I asked him to come in my office. He came in my office. We sat down and had that conversation I just finished telling you about. When we finished in our relationship, right? Just being two different people, I call him in my office to establish a bridge that I knew he could understand. I'm important.
Okay.
So the bridge that he could understand, I'm important. I'd have him come in my office every time he came in to work out, even if it was for a minute to 3 minutes, whatever he had to talk about, that's what I did on purpose, intentional. We became friends to the extent that he said, look, he was a deacon at his church. He was the director of a 500-member choir. And he said, I want to invite you to my church as my guest. I said, no. I said, wait a minute. Me and you built the relationship over time. Everybody at your church probably ain't feeling like you feeling because you're associated with people like you.
Why is it our burden to have to humanize ourselves to Europeans? How come they automatically view themselves as humans and look at us as subhuman? So
because we gave them a power.
I understand what you're talking about, what you're going through. Look, I've been advertising the fundraiser that I'm doing for the tech wearable I invented to stop rapes, abductions, domestic violence. Right.
Nice.
So when I'm hearing you talk about having been somebody put their hands on you and you not saying nothing about it because of the fear and threat. In the 80s, the fear and threat of being dragged or killed or something like that or whatever. In the 80s, I want to say that I'm sorry that you had to go through that experience. I'm sorry that you felt like you that there was no justice for you, right? Let's talk about it for what it is. The book African Messiah versus Government Scum. Let's talk about that for a minute because I wrote the book. If you're African, I don't care where you live at on the globe, you have to get this book. Clearly, I didn't write the book to make money because I put it out a year ago. I talk about it. I talk about it to people because I want you guys to know. You have to know. If you don't know, you have zero chance of waking up. And if you're not woke, what you don't know is hurting you. I have 3 African sons. There's no way I'm leaving the worldview towards the African man that way. As a confirmed genius, I'm going to show the European, I'm going to show all others that look like him or think like him or want to be like him that we started this.
Yeah.
We're the originals. The European is a carbon copy of me, of my ancestors. He wants to be me so bad that where I work at, they have tanning beds because he wants to have my melanin.
Right.
He wants to have sex with my women. He wants to be involved in my culture. It's a rite of passage for European men. Do y'all research to have sex with the African woman? You have to understand the world we live in. European ladies, I'm sorry. The bottom line is they come to ours first. Oh, they'll marry you. 91% of them marry you and they make more copies of themselves. through you, but before they come to you, they come to ours.
Yeah, brown population's growing.
What I'm saying, people, is this. The original history teaches us that the European came to Africa and realized that they were little. They saw the civilizations doing it better. They saw irrigations coming through they saw waterways. They saw how we were growing crops. They saw a civilization that they didn't even have any idea about. So what they did was they said, look, we have to up our game. We have to overtake these people and take from them whatever we can. Let me tell you, African people, something right now. I'm making history because y'all didn't know this till I said it. I'm glad you're on the show, Robby. The one thing that they couldn't steal from Africa was this.
Yep.
They mine it in our hieroglyphics. They're doing the best they can to study this.
Yep.
So since they can't steal it or take it,
kill it.
Robby, I'm gonna give this to you. I'm gonna pass to you. Since they can't steal it or take it or keep it or make it their own, they do what, Robby?
Kill it.
They seek to control it. So African Messiah versus government scum. I tell all of you, the control tactics that they use to keep us focused on everything except what we have in here they've been doing that since they brought us to this country. We've always had the numbers to stand up and do a Roberto Duran. We've always had the numbers in this country to say no mas. We've always had the numbers. There's always been millions of us here in America. We didn't have to revolt or run away or nothing. We could have just slid little messages. Don't go to work.
Yep.
Don't go to work. They weren't going to kill us all off because they needed somebody to make their money.
Well, if we took,
don't go to work. Don't go to work and fight like hell. So the bottom line is we could establish independence on our own. We didn't even need them to Abe Lincoln, and we didn't need them to give it to us. The fact that you still look for the European to give you something that you should take as a human right is ridiculous. It's inappropriate.
Rabbi Ben-Ami is from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's African American brother, and he took a tribe and presented back to Israel. We're one of the lost tribes. There's 2 tribes that left out of the 12, and proved that he's one of the lost tribes, and went there with this tribe of people and reestablish community, commerce, the whole 9 yards, that's interdependent on itself and not at all codependent upon any part of Israel, right? He's done it. He created the blueprint, a mapping of it. It reminds me of parts of what you're sharing about now, but you have a whole different genius on yours. When you say control is death, I believe, because it puts to death the creative genius. And when we open up and start talking about relationships and stuff like that, when we just live off of one person's model and we don't explore any deeper, we're killing ourselves. We kill a part of the process. So I completely get what you're saying about control, but I call that death, because then you stop being what you could be. That's why I got that picture right there on the back, right? That's a picture of your brain and your heart, and they're supposed to be interconnected, all that DNA. And if it flows like it's supposed to, some creative stuff is going to come out, and some brilliance is going to be exposed.
Let me tell everybody right now, since y'all want to know, you can go on certain websites and invite people who are other podcasters on your show.
Yep.
So for those of you who are thinking that I'm podcasting to cater to what you think or what you want, you're fooling yourself. I'm here because leadership is necessary.
100%.
Leadership is paramount for the African village. I met Robby bettering myself. African people, invest in yourself. Robby,
100%.
don't tell them the business that I came to you about,
I'm
but
not.
give them the amount. Tell them the amount I spent on myself to better myself.
You spend a nice you spend a nice nickel. Couple just done a couple thousand investing
To
in
better
yourself.
myself, to be
100%.
to be to be able to offer the community more, to offer more value to people
Yes.
that I deal with in our service. That's how I met this brother. If you want to know why you're broke, busted, and disgusted, is because you are not willing to invest in yourself.
Invest in
That's why I
yourself.
charge cash money.
Right on.
That's why my books cost. They don't cost a lot, but they cost.
It's supposed to. Exchange.
Let me tell you right now, if you don't have if you haven't read African Messiah versus Government Scum, if you don't have it at home, if you don't have it dog-eared and you're not flipping through it, if you're not flipping through it like a manual, let me tell y'all something. The European has successfully pulled the greatest con in human history.
He arrested the mind of the African American male. We willingly let ourselves sleep. We willingly let ourselves binge watch. We willingly let ourselves, hate each other that looks like each other, buy that medicine, that toxic elixir that they've given us. We willingly don't make the time to get up earlier than most when the world is actually calm at 3 o'clock in the morning. On this side of the world, is actually calm and it's at peace and you can hear your thoughts. When you get around 4:30, 5 o'clock, it starts to get busy because the trafficking starts. And when you start allowing for all that human fossilized traffic to hit your brain, you can get distracted on all the good that you should have been writing down so that you can start making a plan that's bigger than you, that's bigger than your resource bed to pull you out and to be encouraged in that plan and to find other minds that can sow wisdom, knowledge, and understanding into your heart and your soul to get you to that place, because you can't get there. But if it's a big thing, it's going to take you some time and some investment, some wisdom and some courage in order to get there. I call it courageous faith because when everything is falling apart and it looks like you're not winning, that's when you're breaking through. And that's when you cry the biggest tear and possibly the last tear. But you've got to face those moments. You're going to come to that place.
Robby,
The
you have different icons to your right. One says comments, one says banners, one says brand, one says private chat. You've been chatting in the private chat. Make sure you select comments. Make sure you select regular comments.
Okay, let me see that. Yeah, because I want to. Well, that one was specifically for me.
Yeah, that's. I'm just saying. I see it pop up. I'm like, okay, he doesn't know he's in the private chat. He has to come out to the regular comments. Taibu Muad'Dib right here, people. I'm telling y'all right now, in no uncertain terms, that I was headed for this situation. And I knew it when I was young. I knew I was meant for something big when I was young. I knew it in my heart.
Nice.
But along the way, along incarceration, with the shackles, with jail, with prisons, along the way, failed relationships, leaving kids stranded. No dad. I'm their dad, and I'm not with them, and I'm not right there in the home with them. Like along the way, I could not stop hearing this call to lead. You have to know what qualifies Taibu Muad'Dib as the African Messiah. So many of you super spooky spiritual religious out there You hear Messiah, all you think of is Jesus because you aren't educated. The term Messiah was afforded to the Christ, and it means deliverer.
Mm-hmm.
If someone needs to be delivered from something, how could it not be the sleepwalking African village? If you want to know what genius looks like, just look at the episodes. I have one viewer on each Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube right now. One actively viewing my show.
They'll see it.
Because the rest of you are scrolling through what the European power structure wants you to look at. Nothing of the sort with which will edify you in any way. I just told you I met this good brother with this awesome story, trying to upbuild myself, putting myself in a position. You guys have no idea how the conversation go from me trying to build my business to him being on my podcast. I'll tell you how it happens. It's the energy transferred. It's a revolutionary waiting to hear leadership.
Man.
So let me be clear about this. I am Simba Namaleka Waichunga, Taibu Muhammad Muad'Dib. I wasn't born like this.
Right on.
This person had to be made. The European power structure had a big hand in making me.
Yeah.
The African American village, the greater African global tribe had a hand in making me who I am.
Yeah.
You all played a part. The rejections, locking the doors when I walk by, clutching your purses, disrespecting me, backstabbing me, betraying me, trying to use and abuse me, stereotyping me. You all had a part in making me who I am today. Because someone had to, at some point, say, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Most of you, if you're willing to point the thumb, are soft. The European has the right to tread all over you, African brothers, because you're soft. The Europeans stormed the Capitol. Never seen before in our whole entire life. They stormed the Capitol because their leader told them it was wrong for them to cheat him out of his leadership.
Yep. And we allowed
it. They enjoy a connection to their citizenship to this country, and they haven't put half into this country what we have. But they're not afraid to die for what they believe in.
And until you're ready to die for what you believe in, you're not ready.
I was born a revolutionary.
So was I.
You don't understand because when the fire is turned up on you, you're soft. The softness comes out. See, I told a guy in prison this one time that didn't understand why I reacted the way I did and went straight to the hole. I said, fam, everybody has what I call their moment.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't recognize this moment, it's because you're soft. You've had many of these moments and you continue to be soft. Everybody knows you're soft.
Yep.
Men who hit women are soft.
Soft.
When I was involved in domestic violence, I didn't know how soft I was. Mm-hmm. When I found out that domestic violence was connected to softness, to being soft, mm-hmm. That's when it stopped.
Yeah.
No one could tell me this or teach me this. I had to come to this on my own. There's no book on it. No one's calling the European power structure wants you to think that you macho, sag your pants, use the N-word, act tough, carry a gun, legal or otherwise. That makes you're soft. Because the police officer rolled up on a 12-year-old African boy in the 2000s and shot him out the window.
Yeah.
And the country didn't shut down.
Yep. The purge.
The country
Open
didn't shut
hand.
down.
Yeah.
Law enforcement killed a child. Said he looked like he was a grown man because he had a hoodie on.
Yep.
You pull up to a community center, you know a difference between a grown man and a kid. They pulled up to a community center and shot and killed a child, an African child. And all of y'all soft selves, y'all soft. Y'all didn't shut it down. That's how the European knows. The law enforcement, the Klan, Robby, the Klan used to come through town and kill African people and see what they were going to do about it. That was when they kill ours, that's how they gauge how asleep we are.
Yep.
Let me tell you something. When y'all see an African cop shoot an unarmed or a BB gun armed European kid at a community center and no charges are filed, it's the European community is gonna. Do you know how many European unions and community members and all kinds of teachers? It's ridiculous. Tamir Rice. I'm gonna let you go. Tamir Rice was almost. He was almost. I watched the show on Amazon Prime, and the guy showed how many people were lynched in the South.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them had names, and some of them just said unknown Negro.
Yeah.
That's what Tamir Rice was.
Yep.
Where was his teachers? Where was his family? Y'all don't know how difficult it is for me to swallow this. He was 12 years old. I mean, I saw a couple of newscat with an attorney, but where was the larger community for this child?
100%.
It's we're living in a make-believe world.
I call it a cartoon world.
Only us. Only us. Everybody else sees it. African people, you're naked. You walk around in the emperor's new clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else knows how soft and how inappropriate your lifestyle is. Soft. Y'all don't want to deal with this on Thinking Through Thursday. I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna let you talk. This is why our dating and our relationships suffer. The men are soft and our women know it. We're not standing up and protecting our women and the children. Go ahead, Robby. I can go on all night about that. Go ahead.
Man, there's something profound about relationships, right? Because if we're going to be successful and move out of this soft putney-wah position, we got to build some muscle, right? And in building muscle, we have to have standards that are bigger than just our goals. So those are commitments that we have to uphold no matter what. And the beginning of that commitment means that we've got to be able to see our words. We've got to be able to hear our thoughts. And then we've got to be responsible for our activity, our actions, right? Everything you just said, I just said it a different way without reference to incidents. So from a standard perspective, to move out of softness, we've got to look at our wealth plan, our health plan, our accumulation model, our learning, our growth. We've got to look at our social life. We've got to have a common standard for achievement, for community, and for communication, and with a definition of what love emerges into being, and then some more. Otherwise, we're never going to get, or it'll be a long time until another revolutionary mind comes along to shock us into a reality that this right here that we're doing right now, this ain't it. It's not complete. It's not finished. It's some pieces that are missing. And as a result, we're living by habit, and we're living by the design of habit. In the design of habit, we've allowed ourselves to repeat the same social injustices that we're experiencing from other people in our own community, in our own bedrooms, in our own communication with our spouses and our girls and our guys and all this. And so we've got to look at from a wealth perspective, how do I take my mindset out of my scarcity set so that I don't feel a competition with my spouse? I don't feel a competition with my children because I have a standard right here that's driving me to a level of achievement that's leaving a legacy. How do I take my health perspective and make sure that I'm presenting a model of health, which is also wealth, to my wife and my children, getting them engaged in the same thing, however they want to live it out, but they know it is imperative to keeping them out of a system that wants them buying all kinds of drugs, legalized and illegal, because it makes billions and trillions of dollars. How do I get myself into an understanding of relationship that makes me set aside time, that makes me set aside effort to learn about another person, to learn about what they're all about, where they're going, what they're, and then how I look at that, people with means, money, power, influence, and how I need to, one, learn from it, and number two, engage in it so that I can pull my family through. How do I look at, and what am I looking for in learning and growing when I have to pull like you did? This is how we met. This is the fruit of it. We met in an environment for change. You bought in order to enrich yourself, to enrich everybody that's missing out on what you're sharing right now, but they're going to catch it later on. Like Ezekiel. People ain't listening to him all the time he was talking. Now they're listening to him now that he's gone. So sometimes we just got to come to grips with the power of our voice. You might be ahead of your time. Here's the last part. I have to have for myself a common standard of achievement. And when I have that common standard of achievement, and I lift up that veil of everything that's been false, every place of scarcity and poverty in my life, and I say, this not going to happen anymore. I'm not going to do it to me. I'm going to watch my words. I'm going to wash my words. And I'm going to show my words in a fertile bed of understanding that can reproduce 100-fold times greater than what I can. And that's my wife. Because whatever word I sow to her and whatever seed I sow into her, she's the only one that can reproduce that 100 times over. So part of my greatness is inextricably attached to her when we're in that union.
Okay.
And apart from not being in that union with her, I'm in the romance with watching my words, watching my data points that I'm speaking about, and I'm lining up about myself, because that's what's going to reproduce for me as well.
So here's the deal. I'm gonna, as I usually do, on my computer, it's the ROM is full. I can do it from my girlfriend's computer when she's here in the studio. Shout out to Shae, who's my lovely girlfriend of close to a year now.
Nice.
But the super mom that she is, she's out watching her youngest son play football. I'm gonna just basically show the screen of my Instagram page as I share the screen share that this is the promo and the iMovie that I made up to promote the Guardian Gear device, and just talk about, so everybody just bear with me for a couple of minutes while you look and listen into what the problem is and what I believe this solution is, the Guardian Gear. I want to give everybody a response. So just give me a couple moments to get this out the way. I have to come and represent for a large population of people in this country that have no voice. Their choice is snatched away from them. In one moment, in 1 second, in the blink of an eye, their innocence, their right to choose, is snatched away. And it's the wrong thing to do for me to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to their silent screams, their muffled voices. What am I talking about? I'm talking about sexual assault, child abduction, human trafficking, domestic violence. A large population of people living in this country are living in fear of the next time it's going to happen, the first time it might happen. Not safe, not protected, and we as a society have not done enough to make sure that we've not done enough as a society to make sure this problem becomes a halt, ceases to exist. We have not done enough, people, not anywhere near enough. But now is the opportunity. The Guardian Gear device gives everyone a response. We have to get behind it, support the movement right now. Go into your pocket, go into your purse, go into your account, and donate to this cause. It's my voice that you're going to hear. The next time someone tells you they were beaten, hit, they were afraid of being beaten or hit. The next time you hear of someone that you know, or someone that they know, who's been raped or sexually assaulted, my voice telling you should have donated. You should have gotten behind the movement. You should have made sure that you did something, that you liked and shared the post, that you made sure it went viral, that donating to this cause became a thing, a major thing, until the device is funded, fully funded and developed. And on the person of those who are the most vulnerable amongst us. Listen to me. My voice that you hear telling you to get up and do something. Get out in the community. Knock on doors. Make phone calls. Talk to the politicians. Tell them, where is my state money? Where's my federal money? Give this guy whatever he needs to get it done. Because there's a large population of us living in constant fear. A large population of us who just can't get themselves out of the predicament. Don't even know it even exists until it happens. A large population. I'm talking about 48 women an hour. Unacceptable. We must make a change today. I've done my part. I've done the groundwork. I've done the research. The Guardian Gear Tech Wearable will stop it in its tracks. But I need your help. I need you to reach out and donate today. Whatever you have, give to the Guardian Gear device at the end of rape, abduction, domestic violence. So that's what it is, everybody. The issue is that this is a European male-dominated society, and no one's called him out on why he allows rape in his community, rape in his home, rape on the workplace, rape in the schools. So I don't mind rape of the mind. I don't mind putting it out there for what it is. They're gonna have to come and get me. I'm 47 years old. I ain't slip on a banana peel and break my neck. I ain't died in a drunken driving car crash yet. I ain't been shot and killed in some drug deal gone bad. I'm saying, so if something happens to me, y'all have my books. That's why I wrote them. Shout out to Dr. King and Malcolm X. If they were great men and they had great visions, they were taken before they had the mindset to write the blueprint down. You have a clean break for positive social progress. You have the Avenger of the New Africa, and you have African Messiah versus Government Scum. Just looking in these books as a trilogy, and you'll have the blueprint to how to get it done.
Nice.
Next book coming out in Christmas is African Messiah versus Police State. So I'm gonna put money behind that to promote that. So y'all have a lot of books to buy and a lot of reading to do, but I can't lead you if you know nothing. My leadership is nullified, null and void, if my followers know nothing. How can a woke and conscious brother lead a sleepy nation? Can't happen. It won't happen. You're still following, wait for it, you're still following the slave master. If you don't believe that you're mentally enslaved, that you're emotionally attached to slavery, then how come, women, you're easy? How come you're having sex for fun and for pleasure when your body was built to produce the greatest minds, the greatest bodies this world's ever known? I'm talking to African women right now. Why would you be easy? Why would you think that you need to give that virtue away for a couple of dollars when you deserve the universe because you withhold that in your body? I just need to know that. The African man, okay, right now, the majority of you are coming up in the households without an African man over you. But that's why I'm writing the books. African women, get the books for your sons so that they know, so that they're woke, so that they know. Give them a fighting chance to be conscious from the door. We treat each other the way that we do because of how social justice affects our lives. It's just the bottom line. African men are soft. They're too soft to get a real movement together. African women are too easy. You're too loose. You're so lascivious as they say you are. Stop spreading your virtue around to be a party girl. If you want marriage and family, if you want to be treated and taken care of like a queen, then you have to exude that. You attract what you are. You attract what you are. All right. Get the book, African Messiah versus Government Scum. Sow a seed and donate into the Guardian Gear tech device. Help stop rape, abduction, domestic violence. It's Taibu with D. This is Stick It Through Thursday. Shout out to Arizona, Robby Culbreath. Shout out to DC, China Gray. Shout out to Arlington, Texas, and Shae, Houston. You know, the whole team. DeSoto, Tony, Irvin, Rob Parsons, Dallas, Devontae Howard. Let's go. Tune in tomorrow for Who Fox With Me Friday. Let's go live. Let's go crazy. Women versus Men week. Let's go.